Today on Decker Does It DIY, I'm going to attempt to put a timing chain in this 2002 Chevy Extreme. Oh, what's up guys? Here lately, I've been starting to get a noise coming out of the front of my S10. Just a little information on this S10. I've been driving this truck for roughly 10 years, and I've already changed the timing chain in this thing once. Right when I first got it, when it had about 70,000 miles on it. Now I'm up to about 150, pushing 160. All I do is go to work in it, and I come back home and, you know, maybe go to a drag strip every once in a while, or go to a dirt track race out here in Kentucky. But I really don't go anywhere with it, and it's been a good truck. She don't have a lot of power. It's a 2.2 liter, and these 4 cylinders in these things are notorious about a timing chain going out on them pretty bad. And I think the reason being is because the design of how the timing chain gets old is one of the biggest flaws in this motor. But it's a good motor. It don't have a lot of power. It's mostly gutless at that, but that's what I have. And I'd like to have a new vehicle, and I might get this one fixed up, or at least running right, and try to sell it and have a decent down payment on something else. I don't know what, but I know I can't afford a new vehicle because they're just stupid pricing. I don't want a $1,000 car payment. Screw that. I went to AutoZone, picked up a timing chain. I think it was about 65 bucks. Wasn't too bad. Here's a timing chain. And what goes bad on these is right here. This has like a Teflon in it, and that's spring tensioner right there. And this will go bad too. But whole kit, this was like 65 bucks. This was like another 15 bucks, something like that, for the gasket seal. This is that oiler. You see a little bitty hole in there. This is that a little oiler. It goes in behind the timing chain. It's kind of like back here, and allows it to squirt onto the chain. So I'll check the one that's in it, and if it's clogged up, then I'll change it out. If it's not, then I'll probably just leave the one that's in there, because I know it's oil in this. Just these timing chains they're terrible. So, but it's a good truck. I like the truck. I've drove S10s all my life, and this one's no exception. So I'll try to take you through step by step what I do. It's not a hard job. It's more time consuming than anything. Yes, there is videos on how to do this, and whether my video's any better than anybody else's, I'll let you all be the judge of that. But I'll try to take you through step by step of how I do it. And it's only one thing to do, and that's to do it. So let's get at it. Let's get some tools. Looks like we got some rain trying to come in, or it's blowing over one. Do what I can. You know, for the life of me here lately, past 2 or 3 years when I work on stuff, for some reason I can't find a flathead screwdriver anymore. I got all kinds of Phillips, but flatheads are hard to come by around here, seems like. Most people have that trouble with like a 10 millimeter, but I got plenty of those, that's for sure. I'm not an alcoholic by any means, but I do like the occasional beer. And I just got off work, and it's Friday, so I'm gonna drink a beer. One of the first things you want to do, I want to take this breather off. It's going to be a flathead screwdriver to unhook it right here. Just to take this off. Hell, it might even just come right off right now. Yeah, it'll come right on. Take off this breather right here that comes around. Get all this off, and there's some like push in things that lock it in. And I also want to take off this radiator shroud. I got a disconnect down here too. $10mm. You got one bolt here, here, and here. You got a bolt here. You got a bolt back here. From the other side, you got a bolt here, you got a bolt here. But you know how it is. You drive a vehicle for so long. Well, I do. I get tired of them after a while. Drive the same thing over and over and over. This bottom one, that bottom one just laid in the bottom of that radiator. There's little tabs. There's little tabs down here where the bottom one just fit in. Right there. And right there. I just disconnected this hose. It went to the radiator overflow. I'll just stick it out of the way. Next thing you gotta get off is this clutch fan. And the last time I did this sucked. So hopefully this comes off a little easier this time. There's a big nut right there on the center of the clutch fan that breaks loose, and I think it's lefty loosey righty tighty, but I'll double check that. Okay guys, I don't have the proper wrench to get this off. The biggest wrench I have is 1 1/4 inches, and it's not big enough. And if you got a pipe wrench, it's probably the best way to do it, but when you use a set of pliers. And I just got a little bar here. I'm putting it under that nut right there. I'm grabbing it from the other side. Onto the big one. Like that. Counterclockwise. Alright. I'm going to hold my breaker bar counterclockwise. Give it a jerk. Now they make a tool, it's a fan clutch tool, that you'd have to take out these 2 bolts right here and then install that tool with those 2 bolts, and it'll help brace this so you can break that nut loose. Mine wasn't real tight because I've taken mine off before. But if you've never taken it off, or you don't think it's ever been off before, it's tight. Get a fan clutch tool if you got one. Once you break it loose, it should just slip right off. Or unscrew off. And I also need to mention that before you start working on this thing, unhook your battery. I forgot to mention that. There it goes. Next thing you want to do, you want to take his belt off, and you can stick a ratchet in here, but stick an extension on it because it's a possibility you can get your ratchet stuck in it. So you just put it in there and go back with it. Slip your belt off. Draw a picture of how this belt goes on if you don't have the diagram sticker on the top of your radiator shroud, or you'll spend some time trying to figure that out. Okay, next thing we want to take off, we'll take off these. I think it's a 13 millimeter. Same principle as before. Just going to use a little bar here to break it. They shouldn't be real tight. Now, before I take any more off, I will start up this truck so you can hear the noise that I have going on, as far as what I think it is, the timing chain. At least I hope it is the timing chain, because if it's not the timing chain, then I'm kind of lost to what it could be. There it goes. The only thing I really have left to do is to take this belt tensioner off, and that looks like a 13 that holds that on. I need to take off this bolt that goes to the balancer. Once I take that off, I can loosen these three, put a harmonic balancer puller on here, and pull this off of the crankshaft. Then we should be ready to take the timing cover off. I'm just going to give y'all a little sample of what my truck sounds like, because I've searched on YouTube and tried to find this noise. A lot of videos out there they say this timing chain noise, and it's not. It's a lifter problem. I can tell by listening at the pecking. You'll hear a lot of pecking on these trucks, or like I think they put these in like Pontiac Sunfires and stuff like that back in the late 2000s, early 90s and stuff. But you'll get a lot of valve clicking and stuff like that, and push rods and stuff. And I used to build engines back in the day, and I pretty much know a difference between a lifter peck and a timing chain, but this one's a little odd. It sounds a little different, but I'll let you hear it. This sucker's loud, I'm telling you. So you still hear it, even with all that off. I'm gonna need one after this. Yes, it is Margarita Friday. Usually go to the Mexican restaurant on Friday night, but my wife's working a little late, so maybe I'll go later, I don't know. But as you can hear, To me, it's the timing chain. I mean, it's right there. With all of this stuff on here, it sounded like it was over here on this side of the motor, but one day I took the belt off and just let it run, and it was doing that noise, and it just happened out of nowhere. It's just driving, and then just one day coming home, it just started making that noise. So I think it's the timing chain getting ready to go out on this thing, and I'm hoping it's just that chain just kind of rubbing on the inside of the cover or something like that. But I'm almost pretty sure now, after taking off all this stuff, that it is the timing chain. So I'm going to disconnect this battery, and then I guess the next thing I'm going to do is get to the belt tensioner, and then onto the harmonic balancer, pull that thing off. Let's get to it. Oh yeah, if you have one of these trucks, you ought to have one of those. It's a damn shame they don't make vehicles where you can actually work on them nowadays. That's another reason why I'm kind of leery of getting a newer vehicle. I do want that luxury though. I would like them to have a nice crew cab Silverado, something like a 2015 or something with an LS in it. Well, I'd like to have. And like I said, man, they're proud of them trucks, man, or anything nowadays. The market is freaking stupid, and I think it won't be too long. These car lots, something's got to give, man, because surely these people ain't buying these new cars like that unless they just doing it for the debt. But I don't get it. I can't see paying $1,200, $1,500, $1,800 for a freaking car payment. That's just stupid. Yeah, it's 18. Try to get my impact on this because this is tight. I just want to say thanks for watching the video, man. We made it to 500. Thank God. It's been a long journey. Yeah, you can kind of tell I've done this before because this stuff's coming off a whole lot easier than it did last time I did it. Those are a 15. This is a 2-piece pulley system. It's not really a harmonic balancer. It's basically just serpentine belt pulley is all it is. But next thing you gotta pull that thing off. So we'll use a puller, pull that off. Appreciate it, 500. It's pretty cool of y'all. I hope y'all like these videos. I'm trying to bring my personality out more in these videos. My buddy at work told me I was kind of bland on them, so I'm just trying to let it loose. Yeah, I was saying, guys, that, man, I appreciate all the subscriptions with the 500, man. I never thought I'd get to 500, but I appreciate it. I got my balancer puller here. Harbor Freight's not a bad store. They do sell a lot of Chinese junk there. You just gotta watch what you buy. There is some hidden gems up in there, though. I'll give it that. Find the right bolts that'll fit it. Would be these. Yeah. See? Harbor Freight ain't so bad. Thanks for all the subscribes. If you like this content, thumbs up me, man. Trying to put out some cool stuff. I really want to ride this weekend, but it's Mother's Day. Moms come first. Oh. There we go. Woohoo! Alright guys, we got her off finally. Alright, time for a drink. The nuts that go around the timing cover, I think are 8mm. Yes, 8mm. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 bolts on the front of the cover. Let's crawl under here and see what we got. Alright. We're on the bottom now. As you can see, stud here. It's got a nut on it. Stud here's got a nut on it. Once you get these nuts off, you don't want to try to take this cover off because you will break your timing cover. These studs go into that timing cover and it'll break the bottom. And then you'll have a nice oil leak. Alright guys. Well, I got that last stud out that was giving me fit, so I'm going to have to replace it. I think I might just put bolts back in it. I don't know why I put them studs back in it. I remember it was a little pain in the you-know-what last time I did it, so I think I might put bolts back in it. There it is, guys. And necessarily don't feel loose. That's pretty loose. That's probably where it's making the noise. If I was guessing, that's where it's making a noise. The next thing we need to do is to crank this crankshaft right here. There's a dot on this sprocket right here. We need that dot to be up here, and this dot or this hole right here needs to be down here. So I need to rotate this motor over. Yeah, 1.25 inches works. This would be a whole lot easier to turn if you take a plug out, but if you turn it a little bit and then just wait, and you'll hear the compression bleed off. There's a dot right here on top of this gear, and that needs to line up. But that kit came with this gear. This is the same type of timing chain that I took off of it that I'm putting back on. So I'm not going to attempt to take this off. I'm going to leave that on there. But mainly my problem is this tensioner. The chain is probably wore, so I'm going to replace it. And I'll probably go ahead and replace the top gear too, just because it's easier to get that chain off when you take that nut off of that camshaft. It is a 24. 15/16 works so good. So, but I also need to use a pry bar on this thing to keep it from moving. Morning, guys. I quit working on it last night. I went to AutoZone, picked up that little guy there. So now I'm going to try to take the cam gear off. First I need my coffee. There he goes. Everything's still in line. Just trying to walk the gear off of the end of the cam. Not moving anything. Check this out before I take any more off. See this right here? See how it's cracked? That was making all the noise. That and this right here was making a bunch of noise too. Where the hell did I put my coffee? Oh, there it is. Okay. After plenty of wax with the cold chisel, finally got this thing off, as you can see. Had to put some heat on it, but it finally came off. The gear itself looks fine, but my main problem is right here. I kind of melted the tensioner just a little bit, but right there is what broke, and I think that's what was giving me that loud noise. That, and there's some wear right here, and as you can tell, this is pretty loose. On the new one, it don't move at all. I'm gonna reuse this gear that's on there because it's fine. I don't feel like pressing it off. Just mainly the tensioner and possibly this top gear right here. I might go ahead and put it on. But other than that, she's ready to go back in. Everything lines up the same. I'm just going to make my paint marker right here on this hole. Mark that tooth right here. Install the new tensioner. But first I'm going to see. Before I do anything, I need to clean that gasket off. Before reassembly, I need to clean off all this old gasket. Clean up around it. You also want to go ahead and replace your gasket. It's in here. Rubber gasket goes all the way around. All the silicone and the seal that's in here. You can knock that seal out with a flathead screwdriver and put it back in with a piece of wood from the other side. There it goes. Okay guys, time has come to, I think I'm about ready to install this timing chain now. I found a bolt, replacement bolt. It's a little bit shorter than the one that was giving me some fits coming out, but I think it'll be plenty long enough to hold this tensioner on. So I'm going to put it on with the other bolt using blue Loctite. Line my dots up, and once we get that on, then everything is just pretty much reassembling everything. I got my cover cleaned out, kind of wire brushed it up, got all the silicone off. I just got the new gasket sitting down in there. I'm probably gonna pull it out before I install it. Small bead of silicone on the inside of it, and a bead of silicone on the outside of it, bead of silicone on the bottom. And I still need to go to the hardware store. I'm going to see if I can find me some bolts in replacement of those studs, because I'm going to try not to use those studs this time. Also, I've got the seal in here. When installing the seal, I just put a small thin bead of silicone around the outside of it, placed it over the hole, used a piece of wood, just set a piece of wood over there, knock it in with a hammer, and you're good to go. So everything's all cleaned up. I'm gonna try to install this timing chain. We need to get this done. Oh man, right there. I think I'm right there. Yep, there it is. The slack from the previous timing chain was making the cam and the crankshaft off just a little bit, so I had to kind of work this back and forth until that fit right in there. Put blue Loctite on both, torque them down, double check everything, and then you pull this pin out to release the tension on your timing chain. Don't forget to pull the pin out. This is torqued to 96 foot-pounds. These are at 18. Things lining up. We're good to go. Pull the pin. Just like that. Now we got tension. Got a lot of tension. After driving around town trying to find what I need, I found these at AutoZone. It's a M6 1.0 by 20 millimeters. I'm going to use that in place of the studs. And I also picked up this. I was aiming to go to Harbor Freight and see if they had one. They did have it, but it was in a larger kit and it was like $100, and I didn't want to have to buy that too. But I got this at AutoZone. It's harmonic balancer installer to press on that balancer hub. Part number is 57144. And if you own a S10, might as well buy one of these. I'm going to add a little oil to this chain. Okay, in order to put this pulley on, you take your thread, size of whatever it is that goes in your crankshaft, which I think mine is a 12 millimeter. Line it up, make sure it's it. Yep, it's 12 millimeter. It slips in the end. This bolt, tighten it up. Just like that right there. Sorry about that. Battery died on me. Put a little blue Loctite on these bolts. Okay, these bolts are 37 foot-pounds. There we go. I can't find the torque spec to this belt tensioner, so I'm just going to put 30 on it. Should be enough. Or just tight. There's 30. Pretty much got it whooped now. Just putting all this stuff back on. Okay, got her all buttoned back up. The fan shroud back on. The clutch fan back on. I just put some blue Loctite on it too, tightened it up just to snug it. Let the Loctite do its work. It won't come off. Put on my breather and everything. Hook my battery back up. It's time to go for a test ride. If y'all like this content, please give me a thumbs up. I'm not a professional by any means. I just try to do a lot of stuff on my own to try to save some money, because I don't know what a mechanic would charge you to do that. Maybe $1,000, I don't know. But it's not hard. It's more time consuming and patience more than anything. But guess what I get to do next? Open up that pool over there. My son's already asked me. Neighbors got their pool open. I don't know if they're swimming, but feels like a pretty good idea right now. Yeah. First overall impressions. Very quiet. Sounds like a new truck again. Very quiet. I hate that this is the second time I've had to do this, but runs good. It's back in time. No clickety clackety. It's just whenever you do this type of work on any type of camshaft or anything like that, it involves timing. Mark it. Paint marker. Oh yeah, feels good. I had a friend of mine on Facebook when I was working on my Indian, and when I was working on the inner primary seal on that Indian, and he was saying, man, I wish I could do that. I wish I knew how to do that, you know. But the thing is, you can. You just gotta at least try. Because I've never done it before. And you know, any of this stuff, even like this timing chain, the last time I did it was the first time I ever did it. And thank God for resources like YouTube that has got videos that show you how to do this stuff, or it at least gives you an idea of how to do it. My video's not the most in depth or anything, but and you've seen that I messed up a few times. There's quite a bit of messed up parts on this video, but it's alright. You'll never know how to do any of this stuff unless you try. Yeah, you might fail. That's the whole point of learning. But it's not a hard job. With the right tools, you can do anything. I think this is a job well done on the S10. Like I said, I was debating on selling this thing. I don't know if I am or not. I don't want a car payment really, but I do want to drive something different. It's been a good truck. I really need more space, something larger. But we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe down there if you haven't already. I'll be posting more content here soon. Till then, y'all have a good day.